7 new train stations and thousands of jobs, says the Prime Minister.
I'm here as an absolute commitment to this plan to deliver what is much needed across Wales.
But are the promises really on track to deliver? Calls for business rates reforms for holiday lets as 40% fail to meet the current threshold. Taking a break from caring responsibilities, how more young people are getting the chance to recharge. Hello, good evening to you. A multi-million-pound investment will transform Wales's railways and create thousands of jobs, the Prime Minister has announced. The funding boost will see 7 new stations built, 1 at Deeside Industrial Park and 6 more around Cardiff and Newport. On a visit to Taftswell Depot, Sir Keir Starmer said the UK government was turning the page on historic dither and delay and was committed to building a rail network fit for Wales's future. Mike Griffiths has been looking at today's announcement in more detail.
The train might have been static, but the Prime Minister and First Minister wanted to show they are united on the same journey. Their visits to the new train depot in Taftswell was to promise more schemes like this across Wales. Potentially, they say, up to £14 billion worth over the next 15 years.
As the First Minister has just said, this is a really historic day.
Work on 7 stations in North and South Wales will begin later this year. Today, Sir Keir Starmer insisted his announcement wasn't simply an attempt to support his party ahead of the Senedd election.
We are several years away from any more money coming down to Wales, even to complete the projects that are due to begin.
Well, some of the projects are going to begin this year, so new stations are going to begin to be built because it's really important that as we announce a plan as big as this, people can see that this year, this calendar year, there will be the work starting. I wasn't going to announce this unless we're absolutely clear about the statement of intent, the money that's going down straight away, the beginning of the work, which is happening this year, and the intent and promise that at the allocations, at spending reviews, the money will be available to follow this through. It's a generational change, and we intend to deliver it.
Do you worry this is too little too late?
This has been very welcome. If you talk to anybody in this depot, they absolutely welcome this because they know the change it's going to make.
First up, there is some new money for a station at Deeside Industrial Park. In South East Wales, money from last year's spending review means work can start on stations along the M4 corridor from the east of Cardiff to Magor and Undy.
And this is the location for it. It'd be ideal.
Campaigners in Magor have called for a station there for more than 14 years. Now they've been told theirs is likely to be the first to open.
50% of the population of Magor and Undy travel outside of Magor every day. That's tens of thousands of trips. We fought and we persuaded everybody that this was a good case and a necessary case for the community, and it's a momentous decision for both Magor and the Wales.
The responsibility for rail infrastructure still sits largely with the UK government. Both it and the Welsh Government want to paint today as an example of them working together with big promises for the future. But there are still serious questions of when the next level of money can be committed and how much it will be.
Political opponents accuse the government of not backing up their plans with more money sooner.
The £14 billion hasn't been committed. It's a pipe dream. I hope it happens, but without fully funded projects, then it really doesn't mean anything.
What the UK Conservative government set out was a vision to how rail could be improved for all of Wales, in particular including North Wales. That electrification of the North Wales main line, absolutely vital to the future of connectivity across the UK, in particular in North Wales.
The proposals drawn up by Transport for Wales cover more than 40 potential schemes across the country. How far the UK government's support extends to the millions and even billions required for each will be closely watched in years ahead.
Well, Mike joins me now. Plenty announced today, plenty to mull over. People watching will want to see this and they'll want to see it quickly, but realistically, what happens next?
Well, the tricky thing for all governments, whatever their politics, is that rail schemes cost an awful lot of money, and they also take a long time to deliver. But we know now, after years of lobbying and money being found, that those stations we talked about in the report there, work will begin this year. The Deeside station in North Wales, they're confident that potentially could be delivered within 2 to 3 years. And the ones on the southeast main line in Wales, the alternative to building an M4 relief load, let's not forget. The first 2 of those, construction will begin in 2029. Lots of planning and design work to get out of the way first of all. Now, this is the document that Transport for Wales have put out here, some nearly 40 pages in total. This is full of the kind of schemes we could be talking about over the next 10 to 15 years. Right across the breadth of Wales, schemes in the millions, schemes into the billions. What they need, of course, is more money to come. And that is something Welsh Government hopes will be delivered in the years to come.
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you very much indeed. Well, as we heard there in Mike's report, today's announcement comes only a few months before May's election, of course. Our political editor, Adrian Masters, is at the Senedd for us this evening. I'm not one to be cynical, Adrian, but convenient timing for such a big announcement, some might say.
Some might, Andrea. There's a mixture of political motives at play during this announcement, and the election is certainly one of them, as you said. Well, actually, it's sooner than that. It's just over 10 weeks away until the Senedd election here in May, when we'll all be electing a new Welsh Parliament, and the polls are looking very bad for Labour, very bad indeed. In our most recent poll, it showed that Labour could come in a joint 4th place, way behind Plaid Cymru, Reform UK, the Greens, and in joint 4th place with the Conservatives. And that's only 10 weeks away. The improvements that Mike was just talking about, and as he said, will take years, even those that'll come sooner than the others. So it may help Labour at a UK level ahead of the next general election, which is going to be in 2028 or 29, but it might not come soon enough to help Eluned Morgan and Welsh Labour.
Lots to digest looking at both sides there. What does today say about how the relationship between the two Labour governments is?
Well, it's proof, they say, of the partnership in power, but that comes after some tensions between the two governments. Labour Senedd members, sometimes including Eluned Morgan, think that Labour in London, their Welsh Labour colleagues in London, aren't helping. That's certainly what opposition parties here in the Senedd say, that Labour takes Wales for granted on the whole. Last week, remember, there was real risk to Keir Starmer's leadership, and it did look like he might have to stand down, particularly when the leader of Scottish Labour called for him to do so. The leader of Welsh Labour, Eluned Morgan, didn't. So now today we've seen the two leaders working together, partnership in power, they say, but as Mike said in his report, and as the other political parties will be saying, is that too little, too late?
Adrian, thanks very much indeed. Elsewhere tonight, a man has been charged following an incident in which a number of weapons were found at a property in Abergwynfi in Neath Port Talbot. 51-year-old Maximin Carter has been charged with possessing an offensive weapon in a private place and possessing a prohibited weapon. South Wales Police carried out an operation to seize the weapons on Commercial Street on Monday. Swansea Council has applied for a High Court injunction to halt the proposed deal between the Welsh Rugby Union and Y11 to buy Cardiff Rugby. If the deal goes ahead, the council fears it could lead to the end of the Ospreys and men's professional regional rugby in Swansea and is calling for an urgent court hearing. The WRU has been approached for comment but has previously said its focus remains on the long-term health of the whole game in Wales. New surveillance cameras will be introduced as part of efforts to tackle fly tipping in Wales. Latest figures show more than 42,000 incidents were reported in the 12 months to March 2024. 150 trail cameras are set to be distributed to councils to monitor hotspots and support enforcement, whilst fixed penalties will also be reviewed.
For those people who think they can get away with fly tipping and littering, well, they might well be caught on screen going on there. But we're also looking as well at the fines that can be issued. So at the moment it's up to £400. We're quite interested in increasing that sliding scale up to £1,000. And I think that will give the right deterrent effect then to people who think they can get away with this.
There are calls tonight to reform Wales's 182-night rule for self-catering businesses. The policy requires holiday cottages to be let for at least 182 days a year to qualify for business rates. Those who fall short are reclassified as second homes and are hit with council tax bills. According to industry figures, around 40% of Welsh holiday lets have failed to meet the threshold, leaving many businesses facing financial strain or even closure. Ian Lang has more.
Looking into an uncertain future, 10 years ago Sally Howdle converted former B&B rooms in her Cricket home into 2 self-catering apartments to supplement her pension in retirement. But in 2024, she fell short of the Welsh Government's 182-night occupancy threshold, a Welsh Government policy requiring the owners of self-catering holiday lets to prove they're in active use.
Because I only managed 44 days a year for each of the flats, which is well over 182 if you put them together, but apparently that isn't allowed. Because of that, they've taken me off business rates, put me onto domestic rates, which is 150% extra because they class them as second homes. Well, I've now got a bill for £22,000. Frightened. I'm really frightened about it. And I completely lost control of my life.
The policy was introduced in 2023 in Wales with the aim of tackling the impact of second homes on the local housing market. The stricter rules require self-catering holiday lets to prove their properties are in active use for 182 days to qualify for business rates rather than council tax. Otherwise, they are classified as second homes, attracting hefty premiums. But there are those in the industry who want the 182-day rule reduced and policy reviewed. They've launched a campaign saying the economic impact is damaging and is not being consistently monitored across Wales.
The government has offered a small concession, haven't they? They've decided they're going to average the 182 across 3 years. But in my opinion, that's just a small concession. You know, it's like offering somebody a coat in a hurricane. You know, you'll take the coat, but it's not really going to help you in any way. You know, stop your house from flooding. But if the Welsh Government have decided that the number of nights let is the threshold that they want to use, that target has to be low to protect individuals who suffer unforeseen circumstances.
2/3 of our income as holiday letting owners is spent in the local community. It goes to show how important it is that the business isn't effectively killed by unthinking legislation.
But language campaigners say even more radical action is needed.
Cymdeithas Iaith wants to see the Welsh Government taking real action on the housing crisis through introducing a Property Act rather than tinkering around the edges with existing legislation.
While Sally is hoping for a successful rethink on her property, Gwynedd Council say they've already asked the Welsh Government to review and reduce the 182-day rule. The Welsh Government say they want to ensure property owners contribute fairly while maximising property use for local communities. Ian Lang, ITV News, Cricket.
OK, there's plenty still to come on the programme this evening. We'll be crossing live to Gwenan, who is picking up a few moves of some world-class dancers. Gwenan.
Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see my dance moves, Andrea, but join us a little bit later in the programme to find out why these group behind me are among the best dancers in Wales.
And lots of clouds, quite a lot of wind, rain on the way. It's going to be a bit of a wintry mix overnight, but I'll tell you what's going to happen in more detail in just a bit.
First, though, tonight there are around 22,000 young carers in Wales who look after a loved one. For many, it can be a daily challenge that's both tiring and stressful. Now, though, a Welsh Government scheme which offers unpaid carers the chance to take a break from their responsibilities and recharge has been extended for another 3 years. Issa Farfor joined a group of young carers on a day out to find out just how much the short break scheme means to them.
The sound of rushing water and children having the best time. This is a short break from caring life. Kellen is a young carer. He's only 13 and today he's doing something just for himself.
It is really, really exciting and fun because we get to do all these things you don't really get to do like all the time.
Doing stuff like this creates memories that will last a lifetime.
And usually normal kids are doing like homework and going out with their friends. We don't have all those opportunities, so it's nice for us to get out and just kind of have a bit of respite.
This is what a short break looks like, just being in this wonderful place with other young carers, no caring responsibility, but doing something for yourself. The short break scheme has already delivered more than 50,000 of these days, and the funding has been secured now for another 3 years.
I think they give them a true break from their caring roles. They get to make lifelong memories with other people with lived experiences that are similar to theirs, and they get to explore places that are generally like on their doorstep but they've probably never been to before.
At home in Cwmbran, Callan helps care for his little sister Mali. She has a rare condition which means she needs constant supervision. So he cooks, cleans and keeps a close eye on her. Jobs most teenagers don't have to think about.
Like, if you're a young carer, it does get overwhelming and difficult sometimes because, like, I'm only 13 and I have to deal with my sister with disabilities and my normal life at the same time.
Thousands of children across Wales are looking after someone at home. For Callan, caring isn't a choice. It's a way of life, but he loves being the big brother.
Some children, like Callan, wasn't born into a caring role. He was 7 when his sister was born, so Callan had to adapt his whole little life to help out, and he's taken it in his stride. And me as a parent, without having these breaks for Callan, I think it would really make me worry about him.
Open your legs! Open your legs! Research shows these short breaks can reduce loneliness and improve well-being. Caring is part of everyday life for Callan. But today, he is just a teenager on an adventure. Isa Farfour, ITV News.
You are watching Wales at 6, a reminder of tonight's top story. A new multi-million-pound investment into 7 new train stations is set to create thousands of jobs. The Prime Minister said it will give Wales the rail infrastructure it deserves. Still to come on the ITV Evening News.
Surrey's police force calls for witnesses to come forward after human trafficking claims emerge from the Epstein files. It comes as new emails show Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's team tried to get Epstein's help to counter the sexual assault allegations against him 4 years after he said he'd cut contact. The rate of inflation drops to 3%. Could an interest rate cut be next? And unseen doodles discovered in a letter provide a touching insight into the late Queen's childhood. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
That's all coming up shortly for you. It's weather time with us in just a moment. But first, something to bring a smile to your face on a grey Wednesday. A group of dancers from Pontypridd have qualified to represent Wales in the Dance World Cup. Dimensions Performance Academy is made up of 17 performers from different backgrounds. All have one thing in common, that love for dancing. Well, Gwenan is joining them for their rehearsals. Hopefully we'll get to see, or we can see, a little bit of them in action behind her there already. Have you got your dancing shoes on? Good evening.
Andrea, I've always got my dancing shoes on, but especially this evening as this group have just qualified for the World Cup dance, and these 2 women here are in charge. How are you feeling? You must be so pleased.
Absolutely thrilled. Yeah, they work so hard. They're the most amazing bunch of dancers, and they're here in a district club with nothing at their disposal from working class valleys, and they've just won an amazing opportunity. We're thrilled.
They must have worked so hard to reach this point.
Very hard, yeah. So it's quite a strict process. We've got to do sort of video submissions, and then the judges watch all those, and then against the rest of the country, so the rest of Wales, then we are sort of judged, and you have to reach a certain mark, and then we did. And everything we entered qualified, which is incredible, really, because they only dance once a week. They only see each other once a week.
Incredible. Yeah. And what's it mean to these group of girls?
pretty special this year because we've got a couple of them going off to college. How perfect to sort of end their year with us on the world stage. And I feel like we've been working to get here, and hopefully we'll get there, and without any of the financial restraints. But yeah, it means a lot. They're very grateful, very humble, very talented, and very grateful.
And to be representing Wales on that global stage, that must be a fantastic feeling for you as coaches as well.
It is for us and for the dancers, especially representing such a working class community and area. Our families are incredibly supportive of the talent of these kids, young people.
Yes.
So to represent this part of Wales in particular is just an honour in such a prestigious competition where, that's where we need the sponsorship and the support, because otherwise it might not be possible for our sort of community. So they deserve it.
Well, good luck to you all. Now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm going to give you the mic. Where's Phoebe? Come on over. Well, we'll find out. Just a warning to you all, I have got 2 left feet. Right, let's go for this.
Ready? 5, 6, 7, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look to the right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Grab. 1, 2. Shimmy, shimmy.
How can we possibly leave this? We need to see the rest of the routine. She's doing very well.
I've just embarrassed myself live on TV, and that's why, Andra, I've never qualified for a dance competition in my life.
We wanted to see more. Brilliant. Thank you, Gwenanne. Well, time for a look at the weather, where I think there's been a rain dance going on. Here's James.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello there, good evening. It's rather damp, rather windy, rather cold out there at the moment, and whilst we've got a little more of that sort of weather to come, things are set to change. It's going to remain a little bit changeable. There will be more rain in the forecast, but the big difference is things are going to turn a lot milder. Low pressure plonked nearby. It's pulling in cold air across the northern side of it in from the east. That will eventually clear, but of course cold air and rain doesn't mix very well. We end up with this wintry mix, and that's why we've got warnings in force. Over the weekend, we're going to see a succession of fronts through, but the direction of the breeze means things are going to get much warmer. So yellow warnings pretty much across the board, just not across districts around the coast. We have that mixture of dampness and the cold, so a little bit of snow in the mix, but it is cold enough to see an ice risk too. Those will eventually expire through tomorrow morning. So as far as temperatures go, chilly start to Thursday. Things a bit murky in 1 or 2 spots, but it looks as though things are going to brighten up quite nicely as that low pulls further away. Risk of a couple of showers just skirting into Pembrokeshire, not exclusively, but that's the most likely place. And we are still in that cold air mass, so we're looking at highs of around 5 to 7 or 8 Celsius. Thing is, things are going to change. Cold front that's bringing those showers clears through. Another one for Friday. Quite a few showers on the backside of that system, but look at the temperatures, looking at highs of 11 Celsius. Could get milder still on Saturday, even with that rain pushing through. So things are set to get a lot less cold.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
And that's it for tonight. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.